Hello, glorious souls. Welcome to your Soul Service Astrology update for the 4th of April 2022. Welcome to April. I am Kel Gunter. I am a 13 sign sidereal astrology. So that's the astrology that you're going to get here. And I'm also the creator of Soul Service Astrology. 13 sign sidereal astrology is matched with astronomy. It is matched with what you can observe in the sky. And the ancient Babylonians, where a lot of Western astrology comes from, were observing the sky. So they were looking what they could see, the moving stars, planets, in relation to the fixed stars, the stars in the distance and the nebula. And it was observational astrology, and they tied it in with what they could see also happening in the seasons on their planet as well. On their planet. Within their local environment. So in particular, the Nile and things like that, and the Euphrates, of course. So the Euphrates was in Babylon and the Nile was in Egypt. So there was a lot of cross-cultural pollination happening between those two areas. And even though it's the Middle East, yes, it informs Western astrology significantly, because then, of course, the Greek empires and the Roman empires came along, and there was a lot of sharing of information in that region in that time. So that's sidereal astrology. And why do I think that's important? I think it's really important that we start to observe our natural environment, and that includes the sky, because that allows us to come back into connection with it. So instead of looking at our astrology programs and having someone else tell you where the planets are, you can, these days, it's so easy. You can get out your astronomy app, you can go outside on a clear night and start to find where the ecliptic is and see which constellations are most prominent for you through the seasons. See where the moon lands, and you'll notice that they're kind of different to what 99% of modern astrology, Western astrology in particular, is telling you. So I think that allows us to come back into connection with our environment. That's really important where we are in this moment in our history. We need to come back into connection with our environment. It needs us, we need it. And by observing it, by coming back into a practice with it, a cyclic practice with it, means that you're honouring it and it's honouring you, and it feeds back information to you. You'll feel better, you'll feel more healthy, and then you're more inclined to take more healthy actions in relation to our planet and its glorious people and species. So you can hear the undertone of my vision and my why. Soul Service Astrology is based on 13 sign sidereal astrology, and it is a practice, it is a technique to get you to come back into connection with your ecological and your cosmological self, so that you can live the life, a more regenerative life, a more restorative life, connected with the planet, taking care of yourself, honouring your strengths and your weaknesses and challenges, and being of service this lifetime for our planet, of course. There's a number of ways you can work with me, and you can go to kellygunter.com to find out more about that. And I'll mention it at the end of this video again. But without further ado, let's have a look at what's going on in the skies this week. Yes, I am using an astrology program to show you what is going on this week. However, this is very much tied to what you could see in the sky as well. That's how this astrology program has been programmed. All right, so Monday, the beginning of the week, it's really great. When I first look at the astrology for the week, I look at the overall energies that sort of are still in play. And last week I discussed there was a lot of Pisces energy. Now that energy hasn't gone anywhere. There is still a lot of Pisces energy. So keep that in mind. What is Pisces energy? Pisces is about accessing our deeper connection and interconnection with everything. Pisces is about coming back into our mystical intelligence. That means fusing our logical and analytical intellect with our intuitive abilities and honouring both. One's not better than the other. They can both work together. It's just our society, of course, has privileged for the longest time, for 2022 years predominantly, maybe minus 400 years thereabouts, has privileged logic, intellect, and the analytical and reasoning mind. And now there is a call to swing back the other way and bring our intuition into the conversation as well. So there is that energy there underlying everything that I talk about this week. So don't forget that. I will try and reiterate it as I talk you through this week's chart. Okay, so on Monday, the first thing to notice is we have Saturn and Mars conjunct in Capricorn. So let's talk about these archetypal energies. And the planetary energy, for me, I feel is the most important. It's the most important archetype because that's what you can observe. And those planets were formed during the singularity and the coalescing of our solar system, and the forming of our solar system. Our Earth and Saturn and Mars were all formed around the same time. They have, they're our ancestors. The Earth is our ancestor. We're part of that, and the solar system is also our ancestor. And so there carries an energetic signature that we can tap into. Now, it might be that you're really familiar with this energy and you go, okay, that's all right, I can tap into that energy. Or this energy might rattle you a bit and make you feel really uncomfortable. When a pattern of energy or a quality, or you're being asked to step into something new that maybe you haven't experienced before, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. The human mind always and body always likes to go, oh, I don't know that, so I'm not going to go there, right? Because I don't know what's on the other side of that. But typically, and you can probably look back at this on your life, right? When you have stepped into things that have been a little bit more challenging and have pushed you beyond what it is that you've known and the qualities that you've embraced, you've probably achieved some things. You've probably done things that you weren't quite sure that you were able to achieve. And it's interesting that conversation came up as soon as I mentioned Saturn energy, because that's really what Saturn's about. Saturn's not easy energy to deal with. It's Magus energy, which derives from the word magician. Now, lots of people probably wouldn't think that Saturn is aligned with magician. Now, magic has been given this mythological sort of definition. However, magic is really practical. Magic is what you make it. Magic can be very earth-based. It's the magic and the intention that you set behind your deeds. It's the magic and the intention that you set behind the consolidating of your expertness and the mastery. It's the magic that you and the intention that you set behind the career or the work that you do. And it's the intention behind why you're doing it, and you're using your wisdom to bring it to the fore. Now, typically when we step into our Magus energy or magician energy, our wisdom, our leadership, queen or king energy, however you want to look at it, there's always hard decisions to make and there's always challenges to be met, right? So that's certainly what's going to come up for us this week. There's going to be a challenge that we need to meet, that we need to step into our leader. We need to step into this Magus energy and intend that I can go through with this. I can walk in the valley of discomfort and come out the other side. Now, with Mars there, of course, there's going to be a real focus on it, but it might be quite combustive. It might feel like you might feel angry. Why am I being made to learn this lesson? Perhaps you've learned this lesson previously. Why am I being made to learn this lesson again? Why am I being made to feel so uncomfortable to go towards my mastery, go towards a deeper level of integrated wisdom within me, right? So even though all that might sound really, really hard and challenging, I want you to embrace it. We all need to embrace that more, to step more into our wisdom-led service, to step more into this really intentional, why am I doing that? Is it really what I want to be doing? Is it really important for where I am in my life and where I want life to go and what I see happening in society and culture? I let all that filter in as well. So that's the energy of Saturn and Mars in Capricorn that we start the week with. Then Tuesday, that energy is still there. Same with Wednesday, I think. Wednesday, that energy is still there. As you can see, they're still only 1 degree apart. So that energy is going to be there the whole week. Like I said, I think we need to start appreciating that our wisdom doesn't come like that. So what's happened over the last, gosh, I even think it's a really short period of time. Like it's only really over the last 14 years where we've really embraced the internet and we can get everything that we want really quite quickly. We can kind of get everything that we want now, right? But Saturn is saying to us, what do you really want? What's that big thing that you really want? And is it backed up by really intended wealth of wisdom and work, right? That takes time. Saturn has always been known as kind of the time god as well. So those sorts of things take time. You know, Mars energy can kind of rush in and want to go take charge and get things done. But Saturn's like, nope, we are going to be really intentional about where we focus our energy this week. And to embrace that beautiful marinating of time where we can come and go, it's all right. It's all right. I'm learning, I'm integrating, I'm embodying, I'm stepping into my wisdom. And in a few years' time, I'll look back on this and oh, yes, I'm so glad that that happened. So embrace that energy, embrace the lessons and embrace time, because it's okay for things to take a little bit longer, just like a beautiful bottle of red wine or a glorious bottle of vintage champagne or a delicious chocolate. The products, the produce that goes into producing those things, there's usually time involved for them to mature, like a delicious cheese and things like that. That's how I think about it. So then we get to Thursday, the 7th of April. And I must have changed my settings here, but we'll just, oh no, you can see it. There it is. Okay. So we have what's called a minor triangle come up on Thursday. So we still have the conjunction between Saturn and Mars all week. We still have 5 planets in Pisces. We still have that energy. And then we have this minor triangle, which is it only lasts for a day. So this is Thursday the 7th, and this is an opportunity for us to check in with our mind, because the apex of the minor triangle is at Mercury, and Mercury is our mind, and it's in the sign of Pisces at the moment. So it's being given the opportunity to go beyond what it knows, to step into this mystical intelligence, to embrace the higher mind as well as the lower mind together. Now, a minor triangle has the energy of Mercury. It has an opportunity to inquire, and it's fed by the conjunction between Saturn and Mars. So it's fed by that, yes, I'm consolidating. Yes, I'm stepping into my mastery. Yes, I'm stepping into my magician. Yes, I'm stepping into my wisdom. It is fed into that. Can we integrate? And this is a sextile. So this is, I have everything I need. This energy can come into Mercury, into the mind, and it's likely that you might find answers and solutions that you've been looking for. You might get comfortable realizing, oh, I can do things in a very grounded, earthly way, but then there's times where I need to sort of let them simmer and let the universe and source and spirit sort of filter through and percolate in. And then, of course, we have the moon over here in Taurus, and the moon is a crescent moon. So this has this real idealistic quality to it, but it's grounded idealistic quality in Taurus. So it's feeding in, like my emotions feel very grounded, but I'm very positive about what's happening. So even though I'm being called to learn some lessons, and perhaps it feels a little bit more challenging now, and perhaps there's all these ideas that I want to follow, but there's this very grounded energy supporting this coalescing and the condensation of our mystical intelligence into our mind. It's kind of anchoring in, and it's being helped to anchor in with some very earthly energies. And if you've ever heard me speak before, you will have heard me mention about being humanly divine and divinely human. So our humanness is not something to reject, and our divineness is also not something to reject. They both work together. And when I talk about mystical intelligence, that's what I mean, right? So that you get to embrace all of this in your being on Thursday. So this is just a day on Thursday that you can harness this energy and feel what you've learnt since the beginning of the week. Integrate into your ideas and what is it, how you communicate or anything that you have to get done, and then embrace how that makes you feel. Like that's a feeling state. How does it feel to integrate the mind and the intuition together? That's an inquiry that you can have this week. So then we shift to Friday. Again, nothing significant on Friday, but on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, there are some significant energies happening on the weekend. So you'll notice that Mars is almost ready to slip into Aquarius there on Saturday, and it does on Sunday. So on around Saturday, Sunday, first of all, the first aspect that is notable, after the week that we've had where we've been asked to be really considerate and acknowledge where we're focusing our attention and to make it sure it's aligned with where we really want to be going and what's important. Now, if you do that, if you heed the lessons, become aware of what's going on for you, and heed the lessons of Saturn with Mars at the beginning of the week, when Mars steps into Aquarius, you get to let inspiration and imagination fill you up. Like you get to go, all right, now that I have really integrated another aspect of my wisdom, because of course we're always integrating, it's not a one-stop shop, we're always doing it. Play with your imagination. Like, what do I get to focus on that feels really inspiring to me and feeds into my vision, my why? So this might be, again, another opportunity for you to check in with, okay, so I'm going to take some action. I'm going to focus in on some changes that I want to make. Are they aligned with my vision, my why? So this is the bigger picture, right? And you've consolidated your wisdom. You've consolidated what's important to you. Now, just checking with your wisdom, with your vision. Does it fit? Can I focus my energy there? And can I be inspiring and be inspired to continue to keep going, right? Because of course there's a vitality and an energy to Mars, and we need to have inspiration and imagination to keep us going. Look, you've got all this energy in Pisces. There are ample opportunities for you to tap into your imagination, and your imagination feeds your intuition. Don't forget that. Your imagination is your intuition. So if you're drawing things, if you're painting things, if you're dancing, if you're singing, if you're writing, that's all your imagination. That's all your intuition. It's always there. Okay, so don't doubt your imagination and don't doubt what inspires you. And it might be within your environment that's inspiring you, or maybe you are looking at the sky and that's inspiring you. A thing to note, that if you can observe Capricorn in the sky at night, and I think it's in the southern hemisphere, because as you can see, I'm looking at this at midday, and it's high in the sky, so maybe these wouldn't be visible. But if you're on the other side of the planet, to me, you should be able to see Saturn and Mars together in the sky in Capricorn. And similarly, if you in the northern hemisphere, you should be able to see Jupiter, and if you had a telescope, you'd be able to see Neptune there in the sky, because Jupiter's quite large, so it's really obvious. And these are all not that far away from each other in the sky, so you'd see quite some bright stars. Those bright stars are planets. Anyway, that's a side note. So Mars is moving into Aquarius. That's really great. It feels like a bit of oomph energy into our Mars. You know, we learnt the lessons. We did the work. That's what Saturn in Capricorn wants us to do. We did the work. Be proud of yourself. You're allowed to be proud of yourself. And then you're allowed to be inspired to keep going, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Now, we do have this T-square that comes in on Sunday as well. Again, it's only a day, and it's activating Mercury again. Now, isn't this interesting? Now, in a month or so, we're going to get a Mercury retrograde. So what I feel this is, it's probably allowing us an opportunity to check in with how our mind is at the moment. And the way that I tend to do that is, first of all, I feel into my body, and Moon in Cancer is involved here. So this is body, like check in with your body, like how is my body feeling, and does that feed back to our mind? Because our body feeds into our mind. It's telling it information all the time. We just need to be open to listen. Now, this might feel, you might be feeling pain with a square energy. You might be feeling confused. I don't want to tell you how you're feeling. What I want to give you is some ideas of how you can check in, so you can sit and listen to your mind. Is it overthinking, or do you feel kind of dull? And then check in with your body. You know, is there any parts of my body that I might be feeling pain sensations, or feel tight or locked up? Or perhaps I feel floppy and lethargic, or perhaps I feel overstimulated. So you're checking in with how your mind feels, and you're checking with how your body feels. And then you check in with the destroyer, with Pluto. How can you destroy these feelings and come back into a more, in yogic terms, a sattvic state, to come back into a more balanced state, to come back into a mind that knows that sometimes it might be having to do a lot of work, other times it gets to rest, and that's okay, but we don't want to hang out there too long. So this T-square on Sunday, after the week that we've had, you might be feeling a little bit fatigued. And then you've got Mars stepping into Aquarius going, okay, how can we be inspired? So take a rest, check in with the mind, check in with the body. You know, ask yourself, is there something that I need to transform? Is there something that needs to be destroyed? Now, when I say that, I don't mean like a physical destruction, or it might be an identity destruction. It might be the destruction of a habit or a behavior that is no longer benefiting you. So as an example, the past week, the behavior that comes up for me when I feel uncomfortable is I want to control what I eat. I want to control my body. And I think by doing that I'm in control, right? But I know that that's a detrimental behavior, because my mind gets really attached to what I'm eating. I don't enjoy what I'm eating. It starts to become a real struggle, and that's what I focus on, and I'm not doing other things. So of course, I want to destroy that habit. That's a habit, that's a programming that I'm attempting to destroy on a rolling basis, of course, because sometimes these are big ones and they keep coming up. So on Sunday, I would suggest, because there's loads of Pisces energy, meditation is going to support you, guided journeys are going to support you, journaling is going to support you, any kind of creative endeavors with the mind switched off is going to support you, getting out in nature will always support you. And if you need more support, you can come in to Insight Timer, where I have some free meditations. Just search my name, Kelly Gunter. There's a bunch of free meditations there, guided journeys to go in deeper to various aspects of yourself. Earth coherence, I find, it's medicine for me, is one that allows me to connect and ground with earth, and it helps me switch the mind off, and it helps me come back into gratitude for where we are right now, for what I have right now, for what the earth gives us. So check me out on Insight Timer if you would like some access to some free tools that will help you step into different energetic states. All right, so that's it for this week. If you would like to work with me, I have Eco Alchemy. Now, this is my paid membership community. At the beginning of each month, you get all the astrology right at the beginning of the month in a playbook. And I call it a playbook because, of course, I want you to play with the astrology. I want you to notice what's going on in your experience and then find opportunities to play with the energy that is coming up for us and for you. You also have the opportunity to participate monthly in a new moon circle. that new moon circle now incorporates me knowing your birth chart and asking you experientially or intuitively guided questions in relation to the energy present at that circle, and I will ask personalized questions to everyone in that circle. That's high value because you're getting direct information from the planets themselves in relation to your celestial blueprint. That's the circle. You'll also get access to download meditations. On Insight Timer, you can listen to my meditations. If you pay for Insight Timer, you can download them and keep them on your phone. If you join Eco Alchemy, you can download them as an MP3 and listen to them whenever and wherever you want. There's no restriction as to what app you have it in. And then, of course, you have access to our community. This is an establishing community, and I'm calling in creators. Doesn't matter what you create, doesn't matter what you do, what your service is, to come and be in a community to support each other and to come back into that ecological and cosmological connection together in a community, together with the stars, and to be supported and have a place where you can, one, ask for support, you can purge. You can have a moment. We're all allowed our moments, and you can feel listened to. That's what circles are about. That's what communities are about, is to feel like you've been heard. And no one's going to be in there trying to fix you. I'm not in there to fix you. I'm in there to help present tools that you allow you to deepen into your creativity, to deepen into your imagination, to deepen into your intuition, to deepen into all that it is that creates you to be human. And that's our ecological self, right? Not our capitalistic self, our ecological self. All right, so kellygunter.com, you can go and check out Eco Alchemy there. That's it from me. I will see you next week. Have a glorious week. Bye.